Guys, welcome back to my channel. I am wearing a mask. I apologize in advance because the whole video you're gonna have to see this mask on my face because it's still drying. So today's video is gonna be all about my roommate horror story. If you haven't already, you can watch my first video that was about why I moved to Boston, and that kind of leads into this story because I used to live in Chicago and then I moved to Boston and I moved in to an apartment with these girls. Today I will be telling you the whole story of the month and a half I lived there, 45 days, and I couldn't take it anymore, and I'm gonna start from the beginning. So I'm not gonna use any of their real names to protect their privacy, so I will give each of them a fake name. One, Tinky Winky. Winky was a tall brunette. She was super ditzy, and she seemed like the kind of befriend you and then stab you in the back at the worst possible time. The next girl, Lala, and girl number 3, Poe. Lala was super sweet. She had a kind heart, and she shared a room with Tinky Winky, so she was just guilty by association because she spent so much time with Tinky Winky. Poe was older than all of us by I think at least 5 or 6 or 7 years. So she was the oldest out of us. I shared a room with Poe. She didn't speak English very well, so we didn't talk too often, but she was clean and she kept to herself, so I didn't really have a problem sharing a room with her. These girls were Russian. They were not from America. English was not their first language, but Tinky Winky spoke English well, Lala spoke English well, Poe could speak English, but her level was like as a small child. She couldn't form her sentences well, and I could understand what she was trying to say, but it wasn't proper English. That's all I could think of, so we'll just go with that. Start at like the end of the other video where I drove 18 hours from Chicago to Boston, and I got in Boston like at the place I was gonna live super late at night. So I texted the girls, I'm like, hey, I'm here. Tinky Winky, Lala, and Poe all came down to help me grab all of my stuff and bring it upstairs. It was the first interaction I had with all of them. They were all like really nice, super sweet, so they helped me bring all of my stuff upstairs. And about a week later, I told all the girls, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna drive to the dollar store and just grab a couple things, so if any of you guys want to come with me, that'll be totally fine, just let me know. The girl was like, yeah, I'll come. And we went to the dollar store together, and I grabbed one of the little green baskets, and she grabbed a cart. So I was like, I don't think you really need a cart, you're not getting that much stuff. So we went throughout the store, got what we needed to get. I got my toothbrush, toothpaste, everything else I needed. She got like an insane amount of stuff, about $200 worth of stuff, and I was like, we went back to her apartment. So a couple days later, Tinky Winky told me, remember when we went to the store the other day, my bill came up to $200. Well, I talked with Lala and Poe, and we all decided that we should split that bill because I bought stuff for the whole house for everybody to use, so you owe me $50, and that's what she told me to my face. Honestly, my first thought was to smack her. I immediately got upset. We went to the dollar store together. Don't know where she got the idea that she was shopping for 4 people. I thought she was shopping for 3, for her, Lala, and Poe, or that she had to take care of me, or that I was going to pay her back if she bought anything for me. So I don't know where she got that idea from. Tinky Winky was like the craziest out of all of them. She had like some mental problems. I know there was something seriously wrong with that girl. She told me like I have to pay her $50, and I said, I'm not gonna do that because, again, I never told you to buy anything for me. Where this is coming from, I don't have $50 to give you because I was taking care of myself. I just had to pay my rent and utility. That's what I told her, and she was like, oh, no, I bought the stuff for the house. You need to pay me $50. basically at the end of that conversation, I let her know that I'm not paying her anything. I bought my own stuff. That was the end of it. That was strike one for me. Strike two are utilities. These girls like to keep the heat on all day and all night. I told these girls, if you leave this electricity and heat on all day and all night, when we get our electricity bill, it's gonna be hundreds of dollars. And very considerate if you could maybe buy some fuzzy socks and some warmer blankets, or we can buy like those individual heaters for our rooms so we can stay warm at night, but there is no way in hell that we can afford an electricity bill that is hundreds of dollars every single month. And I told them that. And nothing changed our first electricity bill. And guess how much our first electricity bill was? $450. I was so mad when I got that bill. All the girls, I'm like, Tinky Winky, Lala, Po, we need to have a family meeting. Come in here. Like, I told you this was gonna happen. There is no way in hell I'm paying a fourth of this bill, giving them like maybe $50. If you split that bill 4 ways, get my calc. So 450 divided by 4, that is how much I would have had to pay. $112. That's half of that. And that was me being generous, because there's no way I used $50 worth of electricity. I was barely over at that apartment. I had my own car in a new city. I wanted to explore. I was either at work or with my boyfriend at the time. So I don't feel bad about that at all. That was strike two. Strike three was the day I found out that the girls were using my things. That they were going through my things when I weren't there. One of them was actually using my toothbrush, which I kind of want to go brush my teeth now. So yeah, I'll be back. Okay, so I found out they were eating my food. Try to be reasonable with people. Like, my mom is super strict, her way or the highway. So I'm the total opposite of my mom. I have a very open mind. I try to be considerate with people. I give them second, third chances, the solution to make it better. Like a compromise. Basically, that's what I want. So when I first realized this was happening, they were using my stuff, I said, Tinky Winky, Lala, Po, listen girls, I cannot afford to be taking care of 4 people. I just can't do it. Like, I basically take care of all of us. Like, I can't do it. Along the lines of, please do not use my stuff. If you must use my stuff, please ask me before. I mean, they all had my phone number. They could have texted me, called me, and not use my stuff. Please do not eat any of my food. Or if you must eat my food, then you have 2 options. You can pay me for the food that you ate, or you can replace the food before I notice it's gone. And I don't feel like that's unreasonable at all. No, like, I will not accept this type of behavior. And they all just kind of like looked at me and agreed to whatever I said, I think just to shut me up. So at that point, I was like, there's no talking to these crazy girls. Like, I just need to get out of this apartment, get out of this place, and take myself out of this situation, because it's very frustrating for me. I was losing a lot of money, and it wasn't a healthy environment for me to keep myself in, so I decided it was time to go. I moved in November 1st, and I left December 15th. So that's a month and a half. My boyfriend at that time, about all the problems that I was having with these girls, kind of came up with an agreement where I could live with him. So I did. I texted my boss, and I was like, I quit. And one day while the girls were at work, I went back to the apartment, I got all of my stuff, and I left. And I'm thinking back, I feel good, because I don't think I did anything wrong, except moving in with complete strangers that I knew nothing about. It's very nice, very considerate, like no reasoning with those girls, and I just came to a point where I knew I had to take myself out of that situation, so I did. Moral of the story is, sometimes you make mistakes, There's always a lesson at the end of that mistake. My advice, if you ever have to move in with a stranger you don't know, I would recommend getting to know them first, setting some rules so they know like where your head's at and what you expect of them. And if they can't follow those rules, then they need to know that this isn't going to work and that there needs to be respect on both ends. So that's it.